So Joe, it's very nice to see you here in your lovely office here in West London. So tell us a little bit about your journey to become the director of the Greater China Office of Hong Wine's investment.
My sort of journey was, I started as a sort of a portfolio, we could call them portfolio managers, which was someone who dealt with clients all over the world. And it just so happened that from our UK office, before we opened our Hong Kong office, which is our first overseas office, I just happened to have quite a number of clients based in Asia. So I already built up a bit of a network in Hong Kong in particular. So when we decided to open our first office there, it was a sort of natural step for me to take over that role and run the business. And then since then we've opened Shanghai, we've opened Singapore, and our team has grown to 11 people across Greater China.
What comparative or what strategic advantage you see the Hong Kong office give you in comparison to other offices?
I think Hong Kong for the wine market is very much one of the global hubs behind London. That's because there was no import duty on wine. That was abolished in 2008. So, you know, a lot of wine is traded in Hong Kong. A lot of wine goes to Hong Kong first as a first port of call before it's distributed around the rest of Asia. Also, it's also a very mature market for wine. So people, you know, the concepts of wine collecting, the concepts of investing in wine, the concepts of fine wines are, you know, very well ingrained in Hong Kong society and have been for a very long time. And if you compare that to somewhere like Shanghai, which again is a very big wine market, but it's much more novel than Hong Kong is if you compare the two. So Hong Kong was a natural first choice.
You're the expert in the wine investment industry. What changes or the changes in demographics, say, of wine investors in Hong Kong or Greater China you have seen since you become the director?
Over the past 10 years, I think that the China market has changed dramatically. The level of knowledge has increased dramatically. I think that people are now China's a very sophisticated wine market. It's still growing massively, but there's a lot of people there that really know their wines and, you know, spend a lot of time in vineyards around the world, really understand what each individual winemaker is trying to do. I think that whereas previously it may have been super exclusive, older money looking at wine, but now, you know, it's very much driven by the younger generations in China. You know, people that obviously have the money to do so, but have been to university in Western countries, maybe unlike their parents, and have been exposed to European wines, because look, European wines are the best wines. They'll always be the most popular. So I think what we've seen, a dramatic shift is the age of the cohort that people that tend to drive the market. It's become younger and far more knowledgeable.
Is there any or something that Hong Kong or Greater China investors are particularly interested in comparison to other investors in different territories?
Yes. What we find in our region, so in Greater China, is that the level of wine knowledge, the motivation for looking at the wine market is very much coming from a place of passionate about wine. So whereas you may have 60% of people in the UK, as an example, that are interested in wine primarily and want to invest into wine because of that. In Hong Kong and China, I'd say that 95% of the people that we work with are very interested in wine. So it's almost, I'm passionate about wine, I want to learn more about wine. A great way to do that is to invest into the wine market. It's a great way, to understand new areas by buying them, by experiencing them, by tasting them, and at the same time allocating funds to something that is going to provide a lot of the credentials that we know that wine can provide. So I think the primary difference between our region and others is that, you know, people invest into wine because they're very passionate about it. Yeah.
What do you think what makes wine such a wise asset to invest in?
I think, you know, from a financial point of view, you can't argue with the track record of fine wine. I think that the returns have been very consistent over the past 25, 30 years. It's an asset class that has a demonstrable track record of providing investors with boosted risk-adjusted returns for their overall portfolio. It has a track record of reducing volatility in their portfolio. And this is because of what it is. It's a physical asset class. It's not only a physical asset class, but it's one that actually the majority of people that buy wine are not buying it because they want to for the wine to go up in value. They're buying it because they want to have it, they want to drink it.
Yeah.
So that in itself keeps it quite well insulated from the wider economy. Coupled with that, if you're someone that's interested in wine, well, you own the wines. You know, it's the same as going into a wine shop and buying bottles of wine. You own the bottles. They're stored professionally for you. You can drink them if you want. You can trade them later on if you want. You can give them to children if you want. Whatever you want to do. So I think that flexibility, optionality for someone that is interested in wine and is someone who is an investor and wants to grow their wealth and maintain their assets. I think wine has a lot going for it.